Trim Entities activity. You need to start out by right-clicking on Edit this sketch and hit the Edit button. And the Trim Entities is on the Sketch tab up here at the top. You notice the symbol, it has a little pair of scissors and it's cutting a line. So if you select that, there are 5 different options over here on the left. They all do similar things, but the option that I think works the best for everything is the Trim to Closest option. So please make sure that you select this, not the power trim or anything else. Be on the Trim to Closest option. And what this basically does is it trims a line or cuts a line away until it hits another line. So if I click here, notice it cut it all off until it hit something else and it stopped. So trim your way around, and we want to end up with a shape that kind of looks like a fidget spinner almost. So keep trimming, trimming, trimming on the inside. Notice that this tool works pretty nice because even though these are curved out sides and they're all tangent, that would kind of be a pain to do with the arc tool. You'd have to draw an arc and then another arc and another arc and another arc. Here I just drew a circle and an arc into that circle. So the trim tool is kind of nice. So at the very end, you should have something that looks like that. If you go halfway through this and you say, okay, I get the point, I'm done with the trim tool, then it's fine. Then just save it and move on. So green check, back out, you can save this and move on. I'm going to just continue because I have more files open. Mid-plane extrusion activity. We don't necessarily need to edit this sketch. The sketch is already complete. It's good enough for what we're going to be doing. What we actually need to do is go up to the Features tab and select Extrude Boss Base. And this time you might get this warning. I saved the file in a way that you will get this warning. The reason why I did that is because I want you to understand what to do if you get it. So notice the message here. It says select 1 or 2. Number 1, it says a plane on which to sketch the feature cross-section. That's probably like foreign language to you. Number 2 makes a lot more sense. It says select an existing sketch to use for the feature. So that makes a lot more sense. We have an existing sketch. So if you have that, your sketch itself is actually located up underneath this. So notice there's a little drop down here, and it's like our browser that's normally over here on the left. So there's our sketch. We can select that. And now it is highlighted or filled in, just like a normal extrusion would be happening. And we have not really changed this yet. Notice the word that says blind. It says blind because your extrusion is only coming out one way and you can't see the other side. So this does have different drop downs right here. Midplane sounds like middle plane. So if we put a plane right in the middle, and let's make this a little bit bigger so you can actually see what's happening. So you see there's a plane that's cutting right through the middle. In this case, it's our sketch, and it's extruding both directions. So it's a mid-plane extrusion. Mid-plane extrusion. Now, this isn't written in the directions to do this next portion, but I do want to show you this while I'm demoing it. If you just kept this at blind, notice there is another button down here that says direction 2. So you can actually create an extrusion that has a plane going through the middle of it, and it's different on both sides. The midplane was the same on both sides. This is different on both sides, and you have more editing ability. So I'm going to hit the green check, and I'm going to go up here and save this, and you can continue on to the next activity. Since I have multiples open, I'm just going to close out and continue. This activity is 2 parts. It's the extrude cut and then 3D mirror feature. So you so far have been using the extrude button to add material. There's also a whole bunch of buttons up here that remove material. So some of these are pretty complicated things that we won't use until TechDraw 2, but the extrude button, extrude cut rather, is one that we will use all the time in TechDraw 1. So first, the directions say that we need to make a sketch on this face. So in order to do that, I'm going to go over to my Sketch tab, Sketch button, And it's asking me here in this message to select an existing sketch or to select a plane on which you want to sketch on. So that would be this flat surface. So I'm going to click on that flat surface. You notice my origin popped up because technically I am drawing on a 2D surface right here. That's this. So it did not rotate the screen for me. I can press in that scroll wheel on my mouse and rotate around, or I can use those different shortcut keys on my keyboard. Remember, Control and then 1 through 6 rotate you around. So let's find the correct one. Control 1 is front view. Control 2 is back. Control 3 is left. Control 4 is right. Control 5, in this case, is the one we actually want. That's the top view. And just for the sake of doing it, Control 6 is the bottom. Okay, so we were on this angle. Another quick key that you could do is just Control 8. That's called normal to. So it will take you to wherever you are currently sketching on. I use Control 8 way more than I use any of the others. So now that we're flat on this view, we want to go up to the circle tool and click on this flat spot, draw your little circle, and then dimension it like it shows. So it says all 3 dimensions are a 1/2 inch. So the 3 dimensions we're referring to is its location left and right. So I just click on the left side and click in the center of the circle, and that's a 1/2 inch from bottom to top, which is height. You can make that a 1/2 inch. And then its size, so its diameter here, is also a 1/2 inch. Notice it'll turn black and it'll say fully defined down here at the bottom of your screen. So once we have that, we can go over to the Features tab, and we want the Extruded Cut button. And the Extruded Cut will automatically select our sketch. And notice I'm rotating around so we can see what we're doing. I just pressed in the scroll wheel here and rotated around. You can change a distance, just like the normal extrude, or you can change where it says blind to through all, and it will continue to cut through this. So that's what I have it set to, continue, I have it set to through all, and then I'm going to hit the green check. It's going to cut that hole through, and that's part 1 of this activity. Okay, part 2 says use the mirror feature to add a duplicate mirror image of the existing geometry on the other side of the right face of the object. Okay, that is a lot. Basically, what we want is this shape copied over in this location. So there are sketch mirrors, okay, and then there are feature mirrors. Remember, we are working with a 3D object here, so we want to be on the Features tab, and the mirror button is way over here. So when I select that, it says mirror face / plane. So what do we want to mirror off of? Well, we want to mirror off of this face. So I'm going to select that face. Then it says features to mirror. So you could just click on this, but notice it only says extrusion 1. If you were to only click on that and hit the green check, even though it's projecting your cutout over here, that won't be there. So we want this cut as well. So I'm going to select in that cut, and now notice it's extrusion 1 and cut 1. An easier way of doing this, if you have a lot of things, is to hit the drop down and select them here instead of on the 3D shape itself. But once you have both of the extrusion and the cut extrusion selected, you can hit the green check and it will mirror that over. Now, if I were to ever go back and edit something over here, it will actually copy that over there. So I'll do that. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it just to show you. So let's just do the cut extrusion. That should be the easiest. Say I delete this circle. Say I was actually to draw a polygon there, just so you can see the visible difference. Okay. Now that I returned, I cut out that triangle and it cut it out on the other side because it's a mirror of it. Whatever I do on this side will automatically mirror over here. Okay. You can go ahead and save this and move on to the next activity. Since I have a whole bunch opened up, I am just going to close out. This next activity is 2 parts as well. This is the Fillet tool and the Chamfer tool in 3D, not in 2D. So in the 3D features tab, fillet and chamfer are actually underneath one another. So fillet works just on curving an edge. So here you just pick what you want. So let's just do this edge right here. And we can change the radius up to what it says. And I believe it says it is 1/4 of an inch, so you might have to type that in and hit the green check. Okay, and it rounded that corner. Now I'll hit the fillet tool again, and I didn't have full preview selected here, so I couldn't see exactly what I was doing. Um, but what I do want to show you now is if I do an inside corner, so that was an outside corner, and really if I rotate to the front view, you can see here that it cut off material. But if I do an inside corner, like this one, it's actually going to add material. So full preview, you see it's going to add this little bit of material here. Okay, that would be like welding two pieces together. You're adding some extra metal in between. So the fillet tool works the same in 3D as it does in 2D. Okay, and this same file can stay open for the second part of this. This is now going to be the chamfer function, chamfer tool. So we're going to hit the drop down in chamfer. And you learned in the 2D files that chamfer cuts it off on an angle. So there are different options up here. This one is angle distance. So you see I have the option of doing an angle and a distance. This other option is distance and distance. So there's an option for symmetrical or asymmetrical, meaning two different distances. Or you can actually do it with the length of that angle. So you can play around with these. I'm just going to follow what the directions say, and this one says a distance of 1/4 inch and a degrees of 45. So we have 45 degrees and a 1/4 inch, and you can simply select one of these edges and hit the green check. If you want to mess around with some of those other ones, feel free to go back in here and change some of the different things. I'm not going to, but you can. So you can go ahead and save this and close out, and you can move on to the next part of the activity.